So class is a user defined. It is not predefined. We'll define our own class. Once we have created a class, it's time to create object. So what is object? It is an instance of a class. See, if I want to use a static constructor, that goal is to initialize what field? Only static field. What is multiple? You have multiple superclass. That is multiple inheritance. Hello everyone, myself Evelyn Jacob, working as a faculty in BCA department, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So today we are discussing the subject C# and .NET technology in this unit 2. So this chapter deals about hoops with C#. So we already discussed the concept of hoops. What is hoops? Hoops is nothing but it is object oriented. It is object oriented. When I say object, the very first picture is class. When we create a class, so we can create the object. So what is a class? So class is a user defined. It is not predefined. We'll define our own class. Say class is something like class student, class animal. That is the example of class. So we can also say it is a blueprint or a prototype. It is a definition for class. So what has class combines the data members and the methods. So method is function. You can write any function of your program. You can write the function of a factorial. A simple program, it is add. So when we discuss about class, a class should support polymorphism, inheritance and encapsulation. We already discussed polymorphism. Polymorphism is nothing but having many forms. Inheritance is the class acquiring the properties of a base class or parent class. So what is the syntax of class? You have to use the keyword class followed by the class name. This is your choice. You can give any class name. Then we'll open the flower bracket, close the flower bracket, and this is the class body where we'll define the data members. You can say data and method. Method is nothing but it is a function. So when I take an example of class, we already discussed the syntax. Now we'll go to the example. Say this is the keyword followed by the name. What is the name? The name is circle. Then we have radius. This is the data. Then we have get radius. When I say get radius, you can see something void. This is the return type. And what parameters it takes? It takes r. It is of double. Instead of giving integer, we had given double. What we do is this r is there and we'll assign to this radius. What is radius? Radius is nothing but it is a member of the class. Then we have assigned. Now what we do is we gonna calculate the area. Again the return type is double. So this is a method. How we know this is a method? You can see the parenthesis, right? What we do is return 3.14 into r into r. What is 3.14? It is the value of a pi. So this is the area method. Next. So once we have created a class, it's time to create object. So what is object? It is an instance of a class. So if class is a blueprint, then object is the instance of the class. So if I take object as a real world entity, what are the examples? The examples are chair, car, pen, mobile. Anything what you see around us is nothing but it is an object. So we also say object is a runtime entity. Why it is runtime? We create an object during runtime. Runtime is nothing but when we run the program. So how to create an object? So example if we take student is a class. There we given what is the class name. We have given area or anything. So this is S1 is object. So how we create, we have to use the word new. See class, this is object name new followed with the again class name, open the parenthesis, close the parenthesis, followed with the semicolon if it is a C# language. This is object of a student. Next, once we've created a class object, now we have the constructor. What is the constructor? We also know that constructor is same of that of class name. See, constructor, it is also a special method. So it is invoked. What is invoked? We can say it is called. It is called automatically at the time of object creation. So whenever you create an object, we have created an object for student. That time the constructor is called automatically. We don't call, so it is called by itself. So what this constructor will do is, then, so what are the syntax to be followed? See, here I have taken the car, that is class name, followed by a constructor. See, this all is same. That is also car, this is also car. So it is nothing but a constructor. Then we'll write the code. So code is nothing but what functionality it does. What? This constructor. So one thing we have to keep in mind, when I want to create a constructor, it cannot be abstract. Okay, we should not use the keyword abstract. Final. So much syntax is there. Along with that, you have to keep in this mind. Next. So when I discuss about constructor, we have other types also. You can say default constructor, parameterized constructor, static constructor. How to indicate it is static? If I see the word static keyword, then it is nothing but static constructor. Next. So default constructor. The name itself tell it is default. Even if you don't write, default constructor will be called. Then what is default constructor? See, we all know constructor. What is constructor? A constructor has same name of that of class name. Then default is which has no arguments. We have written car, no arguments. This is default constructor. Then, so if that is default constructor, then how it is invoked? It is invoked when you create an object. So it is invoked at the time of creating an object. How to create an object? Using new keyword. Then this is the example for default constructor. So starting from the namespace using system, we have already discussed. Then we'll take a class employee. And now we'll create what? Default constructor. Say employee, no parameters. Okay, but we have to write empty parenthesis. So what we do in this employee is, we just print a message, default constructor is invoked. So this is called and your default constructor is called. Next, in the main, just we create an object. How to create an object? Say class name, I give any name, that is your choice. E1 is equal to new employee. This is nothing but default constructor. So this is the example for default constructor. Then parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor, constructor in where parameters is passed, arguments is passed. How it is? So constructor which has parameters is nothing but parameterized constructor. What do you mean by parameters? It is nothing but arguments. Then we'll go to this example, same example which we have taken previously. That is, we have taken employee class. We have defined some data members. What are the data members? ID is there, that is of type integer. Name. Usually name is string. Our name don't have any numbers, so it is string. Then salary. Salary is float. If it is whole number, you can give integer. Then what we do is, we gonna call parameterized constructor. We have 3 parameters. One is I, that is of type integer, and N, it is of type string, then S float. See, it should match with all the 3 data types. Then we'll assign I to ID, N to name, and S to salary. So whatever you pass, it will be assigned to that data member. Next, it's time to call the display function. What does display function will do? Just print. So what it is? So ID, name, salary, whatever we have passed, that will be printed. So where we can pass? We'll pass when we create an object. So this is test employee. It is the main class. What we do is, we'll create two objects, E1, E2. Same syntax. New employee of, here the ID is 101 and the name is Sonu and this is the salary. So similarly, we have also created an object E2 and we have passed a different parameters. So this is nothing but parameterized constructor. Next, static constructor. We have already used the word static, but what is static constructor? It is used to initialize the static field. See, if I want to use a static constructor, that goal is to initialize what field? Only static field. It can be performed any action, that is to perform only once. Then, you always know that it is invoked automatically. Again, constructor is invoked automatically before first instance is created. Before when we create an object, this constructor, which constructor? Static constructor is invoked automatically. Then what are this? It cannot have any modifier or parameter. So static constructor cannot have access modifier or arguments. So it is invoked implicitly. These are the points to remember for static constructor. So how it is used in our example? Say we have taken account. There was employee, now it is account. So what are the data members? Say ID is there, name is there. Instead of salary, we have taken interest, which is of type float. So you can see the difference. We have taken a static. So if I take a static field, what I do is, I take a static constructor to use this static field. Which is the static field? This is the static field, that is interest. Next, what we do is, we create account and we have a parameters. What is this? This is parameterized constructor. Okay. As usual, what we do? We assign I to ID, N to name. Now, what we do is, we create a static constructor. See, if no static was there, it was a default constructor. I use the term static, it will be static constructor. What we do is, we gonna initialize interest to 9.5. What is interest? Interest is a static variable, that is of type float. So you all understood, right? In a static constructor, we will use static field. So then what is the another function? Now we have to print. We have called the function display. What and all we have passed will print in a screen. That is, ID is there, name, and instead of salary, we have given interest. So our interest will be printed. So in our main class, as usual, we created two objects, say A1 and A2, and we're gonna pass this ID and name. Okay, interest is already assigned. Then each object will have a display function. In this display function, what it will be printed? This ID, name and interest will be printed. Next, destructor. See, constructor is to where we create an object, it will be called. What is destructor? As the name itself tells, it will destroy what? Constructor. So, destructor works opposite to constructor. Then, it destructs the object of classes. The name say destruct. What it destruct? The objects of a class. So it can be defined only once in a class. So destructor, see when we say constructor, we can go for default, parameterized, static. But destructor only once. In where? In a class. So how is the example? So we have taken class employee and again It is a default constructor. What we say? We just print a message, console.writeLine. Then we say constructor is invoked. Then what is we have to do? We have to destruct this constructor. How to destruct? We have to use this symbol. When I see the symbol, it is nothing but it is destruction of the constructor. So same class name with this symbol, and we give a message, destructor is invoked. So in the main method, you just call a object that is default constructor, then it will be applied. So constructor overloading. See, we already discussed method overloading. Then what is constructor overloading? Constructor means same name of the class, but here we pass different parameters. That is nothing but constructor overloading. It is used to define multiple constructor within a class with different set of parameters. So many constructors will be there, but parameters is different. Meaning to say there may be 2 parameters or even same parameters but different data type. One may be integer and second constructor may be float. That is what is called constructor overloading. So we'll go with an example. Say we have taken car and this is parameterized constructor. We have taken brand. So this is of type string. Again we have taken a constructor, say car. We have taken the price. See, same constructor but different parameters. For one is brand and one it is price. Next, when we say car string brand, the constructor with string parameter. When we say brand, it is nothing but we want to print the brand. So what is price then? That is integer. Will get you that price. So in the main function, we'll create the object. At each time, what we say is we just pass the parameters. If it is string, you can pass anything. See, it is Lamborghini, or you can pass any car, say Swift, or any car of your choice. So this, it will take only string, and here it is the, again a parameterized constructor is invoked. I don't again give the name of the car, say brand of the car. I will give the price of the car. Anything, 5 lakh, 50 lakh or crores, it depends on your choice. So this is constructor overloading. Next is indexers. You are very familiar with the arrays. Then what is this indexers in C#? See, indexers allow the object to be indexed. See, you have array elements, say 5, 6, 7. So if I take A array, then my index will start with 0. We'll write in the square bracket A of 1, A of 2. So this is the index. Similarly, we can index for the object. That we call it as indexers in C#. So how to define? We can access the instance of the class has same in the square bracket. So indexes are applied to where? To the object. So what is the syntax? One dimension index. If I take one dimension index, see, this is all one dimension, only one row. So how it is used? So for example, if I say get, what is get here? It is a property. Here you have the body of it. Next you have set. Again it is used to assign. Then we'll write some code. Say it is the code body of it. So this is the example where we can understand how indexers are used. So as usual, this is the namespace. This is the class test. So what we do is we take names. What is this? This is an array. What array it is? It is string array. So it contains 4 elements. Then we do public string this. So this indicates the current object. So we have indexing to this object. We are passing I, which is of type integer. And in the get we already discussed, we'll return the names of I. What is names? It is a string array. In set, we just assign it. How will assign? We'll assign the value for names of I. What is I? We have already declared it is integer. So I will give you the index. Then in the main function, what we do, we'll create an object of type test. Test is what? It is a class. Next, each index will assign the string. So first index I'll assign car, next omni, next scooty. Next, after we assign, what we have to do, we'll print all the car names. For that, I'll have a loop. Which loop it is? For loop. If you want, you can take while loop also. It depends. You can take even while loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than 3. Why less than 3? We have taken only 3 elements, right? So it is I less than 3, I plus plus. Each time we'll print the object of I. See, instead of array, I've used object as an array and print this values based on the index. So this is what indexers. Next, index can also be overloaded. Just we wrote get set. Now we have another function so that it can overload with different parameters. So how it is used? So we can say indexes can be overloaded. So what we have to do? We have to have multiple parameters in order to be overloaded. So this is an example. We already discussed this in the previous slide. So this is int I. What is this? It indicates current object. So return what we have to return? Names of I. Then set, we have assigned the values to this names. What is names? It is a string array. So now we have to overload. How to overload? Again, this we have used. In previous, we have used integer. Now we'll use double. So this is overloaded, right? Parameters has been changed. So again, get same sentence, return names of I. In the set, we'll assign the value. Okay, so that is indexers. So once we finish the indexes, it is a time for inheritance. So since we have already discussed inheritance, but we'll see how it works. So C#, inheritance is a process in which the object acquires all the properties and behavior of its parent. So we get all the properties of a parent. Similarly, this is the concept of inheritance in C# also. So why is this used? What is the purpose of this inheritance? Very first use is code reusability. See, somebody have written some code, I just inherit. I don't want to write it again. So code reusability is done in inheritance. So how will I get the code reusability? I can use the method which is defined. In order to define the method, I have to inherit the base class. So if I inherit, I will be derived class. That is, derived class is child. It's same the concept, it is the concept of parents and child. So derived class is the class that inherits from another class. You can see with an example. So what is the syntax of it? Before going to the example, we have to understand to write the syntax. We already told parent is nothing but base class. The class being inherited from. So what is the syntax for the derived class? Class, derived class, this is the colon indicates we are inheriting the behavior of the base class. If you don't write colon, it is not inheritance. So this is the methods and fields. You can write your own methods in the derived class and other methods it will be from your base class. So inheritance is over, but what are the types of inheritance? You have many types. What are the types then? So in the very first is single inheritance. What is single inheritance? If A is my base class, then B is what? Derived class. So you can see from the arrow mark, B is getting all the properties from A. That is single inheritance. So what is the definition? In single inheritance, the subclass. What is subclass? This is the subclass. You can say subclass inherits the features of one superclass. In order to get single inheritance, this B should have only one superclass, that is A. That is single inheritance. Then what is the syntax? The syntax is, as usual, class is a keyword. This is subclass name, or you can say derived. Derived class name colon base class name followed with the members which you want to add. So you have to write within this flower bracket. What is the example? As usually we saw from the using system, then we'll go to a parent class. Say public class, parent class. So public is an access modifier, meaning to say anybody can access this program. So anybody can inherit this class. So what we do is, in this you have a print parent method. Print parent is just a message telling this is a parent class. So this is over. Which one? Parent class. Next we'll have a child class. I will inherit from where? From the parent class. So again this will have a method, say print child, will say this is a child class. So this is the base class and this is the derived class. So in the main function what we have to do, we'll create an object of child class. See, we did not create an object of parent class. Why? Because this child class is inherited from the parent. If I want to use any method from the parent, from this child class object, I can call the function print parent. So it will give a message parent class, and this print child will give you a message this is child class, or whatever message you have given inside your console.writeLine. Multi-level. When you finish single inheritance, it is multi-level. See, multi-level is something, see, you can see level by level. This is multi-level. See, C is derived from B and A, whereas B is derived from only A. So you have more than one level. That is called multi-level. In multi-level inheritance, you have a derived class will be inherited a base class as well as the derived class. So C is inherited from B and A. That is what multi-level. So if we go to the example of it, we have taken an example of animal. What animal will do? Animal will sleep. All the animal will sleep. So what is the message here? Animal sleeps. Then we'll take one more class, say dog. What dog is? Dog is inherited from this animal, that is base class. Okay. So you have another function, say sound. So what sound will dog do? It will barks. So this is derived class and animal is a base class. So you have to understand that you should write this colon. This colon indicates it is inherited. We should write another class, otherwise it will be only single inheritance. So what is the class? Say class puppy. So it is inherited from dog. So you can see what was the class. First we took animal. Animal is inherited. We got a dog class. From the dog class you got a puppy class. So you can see the levels, and this is nothing but it is multi-level inheritance. So in the puppy it should inherit from dog, and you have a method weep. So the puppy weeps. It doesn't barks in the beginning, it weeps. So now it's the main function. So where we create an object, to the last derived class we create. See, we did not create the object for animal nor dog. Direct from a puppy object, we just call all the function. Sleep is there, sound is there. So we'll print a message animal sleeps. For sound, what it prints? It will barks. So weep, you can have the message puppy weep. This is an example for multi-level inheritance. Next, you have hierarchical inheritance. See, here you can see there is only one superclass and you have more than one derived class. So this is nothing but hierarchical inheritance, something hierarchy. So hierarchical inheritance, here only one superclass. See, here you can see only A is a superclass, that is hierarchical. So it serves as a superclass, only one base class, but you can have more than one derived class. See, B, C, D are derived class. So that is for more than one subclasses. So you can go for hierarchical inheritance. So we go with the example. So what is the example? Say class 1. So instead of A, we have said class 1. So next you have class 2. Here you can have some members where you have not written. So class 2, it inherits 1. Next again class 2 members. Then class 3 inherits 1. See, everywhere 1 is common, meaning to say 1 superclass. Now we go for the example. Say we say public class, parent class. Again we have used parent class. So what we do is we'll print parent, means a message. This is parent class. Next we'll have a son. Son is also inherited from parent class. We'll say a method print son and a message is there. This is son class. Next we'll have a daughter. So next is the daughter class. Again it is inherited from parent class. So again you have a message print daughter method. In that what will be printed? This is a daughter's class. So you have understood, right? This is parent. From the parent you have son and daughter. This is hierarchical inheritance. So even son and daughter will have one superclass, one parent. So that is parent class. So it's a time to call the object. How we'll create? As usual, main function is there. Here we'll create two objects. We'll have separate son object and D object. That is D is nothing but daughter object. So if I say s.print son, it will say a message. This is son class. Similarly, if I say d.print daughter, it will give you a message. This is daughter's class. Again from the daughter object, if I print parent, it will give parent class because D is already inherited from the parent class. It can also call the function from the parent class. So we finished with a single inheritance, multi-level, hierarchical. Next you can say multiple inheritance. So multiple, what is multiple here? See, C is a derived class, but it has more than one superclass. So A and B is nothing but superclass. This is multiple. What is multiple? You have multiple superclass. That is multiple inheritance. When we go to the definition of it, we say in multiple inheritance, one class can have more than one superclass. So that is multiple inheritance. But we should understand in C#, multiple inheritance is achieved through interfaces. So when we come to an example, I can't take classes. So if I want to achieve multiple inheritance, I should go to interface. So what is interface? We already know interface also is a blueprint where we just declare the function, where we don't define it. Who will define? The class that implement this interface will define. So when we go to the example, you'll understand. So this is namespace inheritance. Then we'll go with the interface. So interface is dog. What is the function? Dog function. And you don't have any bracket and code. This is not written. Why? It is interface. Next you have interface cat. See, dog is written, cat is written. And what is the method? Say cat function. It is return type is void. Now we have to write the code of it. Who will write? The class. Which class? Which will implement the interface will write the code. So when I say public class animal, again you can see colon. Colon means you can also use for interface also. You can say implement. That is colon indicate it implement. If it is class, it is extends. So dog comma cat. See, in one line we have separated with comma. This will give you it is multiple inheritance. You have multiple base class. But we don't say multiple base class, we have to say it is multiple interface. So you have a dog function here. In the dog function, a message say I am a dog. Then cat function will also give you a message. I'm a cat, meaning we are not cat. That is telling I'm a cat. Okay, next you have a animal function. Animal function will call you a message, say all are animals. Now, in the program, what we do is we'll create an object for animal and all the functions is accessed. Say it is dog function, cat function, animal function. We are able to access all the function. Why? Because we have implemented all the interface. So when we call animal function, that console.writeLine, that display function will be executed. Next is hybrid. The term hybrid is mixture. What is the mixture? What type of inheritance is used? You can say it is a combination of inheritance. What and all we have discussed, it is, if I mix some combination, that is nothing but hybrid inheritance. So it is a mix of two or more of above types of inheritance. It can be single, multi-level, multiple. If you mix, then we call hybrid inheritance. See, this is the example of hybrid inheritance. See, if D is a derived class, it is coming from B and C, meaning to say B and C is a superclass for which D. If I take B, again B and C has a superclass of A. So it is a combination that is called hybrid inheritance. So this completes your inheritance topics. In the next session, we'll continue with the unit 2. Until then, take care. Bye. Thank you.